These are called possible rational zeros, or PRZs. Tell me this. When you divide by a zero, like the sheet that we just did and what we've been doing, when you divide by something that's a zero, what always happens? What will be a zero?
I know.
Which answer? Which part? When you divide by a zero, in other words, like on the sheet, whenever I gave you, let's say, 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 39x minus 20, and I said that 4 was a zero. What happens when you divide by that 4? What happens to that very last column?
-4. What are you saying?
What did I say? How do you know you've done something wrong if you don't get it? If what doesn't cancel out? If you don't get what? The end. The end has to cancel. It has to get no remainder, right? Are we all in agreement? So when you divide by the zero, you get 0 remainder, right? Are y'all tracking with me? Because we're kind of doing a little piece at a time, and it's all built up to get to this point. So let's say that I didn't give you the 4, but I just gave you this. Could you test some points until you found a 0? Sure. How could you do that? Just keep picking numbers until you get one that doesn't give you a remainder, and then you found a 0, right? Do we all agree? If you divide by a 0, you get no remainder, right? Okay. So whatever you divide by, let's say I didn't give you 4, let's say I said just find one. If I did 2, and I went through all this, and I got 0 here, then I'd go, oh, look, I just found one. 2's a special number 2, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an equation, and I'm going to show you how to list out possibilities, numbers that may or may not be zeros, and then you're going to test them until you find the one that works.
Well, what do we do? Just be able to look at the constant and see what number is going to that number.
Well, but it would have an impact on all the rest of them, so you wouldn't be able to do that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First off, let me show you how to list them. So we're going to list out the possibilities. Let me give you an equation here. I'm about ready to be done with chapter 3. Chapter 2, I mean chapter 2. Let's say, I want one that's going to get this good.
We're going to finish chapter 3 by the end of school.
Mm-hmm. We are, and part of 4. Let's say I have f of x equals x to the 3rd plus 7x squared plus 15x plus 9. First thing I want to do is list my possibilities, okay? So the possibilities. Possible. So what you do, there's a little formula, okay? You take the factors of the constant. What's the constant here? 9. You do factors of the constant divided by factors of the leading coefficient. What's the leading coefficient? 1. Okay, this gets harder as your coefficient gets bigger. Okay. So in this case, what are the factors of 9?
3, 1, and 9.
1, 3, and 9. Do we all agree with that? I'm going to do plus or minus, though, because it could be -3 times -3. Everybody agrees those are all the possible factors of 9. How about the leading coefficient? What are all the possible factors here? 1. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these numbers, which are factors of the constant, and I'm going to divide them by the factors of the leading coefficient. So my PRZs, remember these are not necessarily zeros, they're possible zeros. They give me a starting point to try. Are going to be 1 divided by 1 is 1. I'm taking all of these and dividing them by 1 first. Okay? Plus or minus 3, because 3 divided by 1 is 1. And plus or minus 9. Those are all of the PRZs for this problem. Does that make sense? What if instead of 1 in front, this was a 2? Now my factors are not just plus or minus 1, but plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 2. Which means not only do I divide everything by 1, but now I have to take all of these and also divide them by 2. Factors of the leading coefficient. If I changed it from a 1 to a 2, if I change that equation, I want you to see that really what I'm doing is I'm taking these numbers and dividing them by all the factors of the first. So if it's just a 1, then I just divide them all by 1. But if that was a 2 in front, then I'd divide them all by 1. Then I'd also divide them all by 2.
So we don't have to do the equation, we just find the zeros.
We are going to do the equation. One of the questions on your test is going to say, list the possibilities. And all you have to do is list out all of these possibilities. Let's practice listing another one.
So every time you get a new number, the bigger the number.
The bigger the number, the more you have. That's exciting, Bryce. Why are you acting like that?
So if it's like 7 or 8. No,
7 wouldn't, because the only factors of 7 are 1 and 7. But 8 would be 1, 2, 4, and 8. So that'd be a lot more.
But I thought I started off at 1.
You do.
So it'd be
1, 2, 4, and 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like you just did.
No, factors. It's got to be able to be divided by that.
Evenly?
Yes.
Oh, those look evenly.
That's where you can't divide by
But there's
Okay, let's do another one. Let's do a little bit bigger. 4x cubed plus 6x squared minus 3x plus 6. All right, let's list the factors first. What are the factors of 6?
1, 2, 3, and 6.
1, 2. How about the 4 in front? What are the factors there?
1, 2,
1, 2, 4.
Wow, you skipped it.
What goes into that number evenly?
What number?
The 4,
Oh.
the leading coefficient, and then the 6. You with me now? Okay. So now let's make our possibilities. The PRZs here. Just wait, we hadn't even done the whole shebang yet. We're fixing to. I'm fixing to show you.
I mean, like, when would you actually use this?
Yeah.
This is very applicable because it's finding zeros.
Nobody's going to do this on the
Okay, PRZs. List all of these and divide them by 1 first. Because that's the first one here, right? All right. 1, 2, 3, 6. I'm done with that one. Now I'm going to divide everybody by what? What do you think? 2. So I do 1 divided by 2. Now what is 2 divided by 2? 1. One's already there. I'm right here.
Where?
I divide everything first by 1, then I'm going to divide everything by 2, then I'm going to divide everything by 4.
You have to do that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So say if the leading coefficient had like 6 different ones, you have to. Oh my goodness.
2 divided by 2 is 1. 1's already on there. I don't need to put it again.
Wait, what? So
I'm going to just stop. 2 divided by 2 is 1. It's already there. 3 divided by 2 is not on there, so I'm going to put it there. 3 divided by 4 is not. 2 divided by 4 is 2, and it's already on there. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
I divided it right. I divided 3 by 2, and then 6 by 2 is 3. That's already on there. Now I'm going to divide everything by 4. 1/4. 2 over 4 is 1/2. That's already on there. 3 over 4 and 6 over 4 is 3 over 2. It's already on there. So there are my PRZs. If they're already there, don't include them again. Although if you do, it's okay. It's just going to make more work for you for what we're doing next.
Would it be helpful?
6 divided by 4.
Oh, that's, yeah.
6 divided by 4 would be 3 over 2, and that's already there.
Would it be helpful if you like sectioned them off? Because I like did everything that's divisible by 1 and everything.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that.
So which one are you going to use?
Which one am I going to use? That's what I have to decide. Okay? Now comes the part where I have to say, okay, now which one is a 0? Which one's an actual 0? So I have to start testing them. Yeah.
What's the 6 over 4?
3 over 2, and it was already on there, so I didn't need it again. Because I did 6 divided by 4.
Why can't you use 2?
Because it may not necessarily be a 0. You could start with that one if you want to. It doesn't matter what you start with. It's up to you. All right, so let me take you through one, and I'm going to write some steps up here for you. I'm going to come back, I think, to this one we started with. X to the 3rd plus 7x squared. All right, so we already listed the PRZs on this, so I'm going to put you some steps over here. You'll need these written down because they'll really help you. First thing I'm going to do is find the PRZs. That's exactly what I just did for the previous two, okay? Factors of the constant divided by factors of the leading coefficient. So when I'm on this one, remember I just have 1, 3, and 9. And here I just have 1. When your leading coefficient is 1, it makes life really easy. So there are my PRZs. That's the first one we already did together. Understand when I've got the plus or minus up there that literally means plus or minus. So I've actually got 6 PRZs there, not 3. Do you see that? There's positive 1, positive 3, positive 9, negative 1, negative 3, negative 9. So there's a possibility of 6 points I may have to test before I find the right one. So what I want to do is I want to start testing points until I get no remainder. And this could take a while, okay? So you got to be good with that synthetic division because that's what I'm going to be using. I always start with 1. What are your coefficients here? 1, 7, 15, 9. Drop it, multiply it, add it, multiply it, add it, multiply it. I can already tell because that has a number, okay, that's not 0, then 1 doesn't work. So let's try negative 1. See why we learned synthetic instead of just long division?
Well, if one ain't working, neither one ain't gonna
It
work.
might. They're two different ones. Now you want to work on this one. 6, -6, 9, -9. Look at there. I found one that worked.
I ain't know.
But I mean, it could have been -9, the last one that we tried.
It could have been, yes.
Pretty cool.
So you find the one that works. You're just testing points. The synthetic is not bad. It's not hard. It's just going through the process until you find the one that's got no remainder.
Alright, so when you get one with no.
Okay, so when you get one with no remainder, then your steps pick up on what we've already done. We're going to find all the zeros given a 0. Okay, so we're going to factor completely first. Completely. If this is -1 on the outside, what is my factor? +1. That's right. So x plus 1. What does this become?
X squared plus 6x plus 9.
Is it factored completely?
I guess.
Why? You got to put it in the box. This is now, the only new part here is this in blue. Other than that, we're picking back up with what you've already been doing.
So what are you trying to do now? 6?
6, same sign. What are they? 3x and 3x.
That always gonna be X on the
On the ones you fill in. GCF here.
1,
How about here?
3,
Here
1,
and here.
3. No, then we got them.
Now make them all equal 0. You're exactly right. So the first two steps are the only new things, and then it picks back up with what we were doing. So x plus 1 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0. This is what we call a repeated solution, and that's okay.
Alright, you read that up there, so I'm gonna
Yep.
write that down. Right.
No, that's fine. Let's do f of x. Can y'all see that red okay? No? X cubed plus 5x squared minus 4x minus 20. Find all the zeros. That's all it's going to say. Find all the zeros. So first thing I want to do is what? Find your PRZs.
20,
All right, so what are the factors of 20?
125,
What?
1, 2,
1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20. What are the factors of the leading coefficient? 1. So my PRZs, give them to me.
same number you wrote out.
Same numbers I just wrote down for the constant.
We done.
1, 2. Did you say we're done?
You still got another you don't do that one.
No, we're finding all zeros. Now there is a question on your test that's a gimme question. It's just list, it says list the PRZs. That's all you would do for that one. But if it says find all the zeros, then you have to go through this process. All right, so what do I do now? Start what?
Put 'em in.
Start plugging them in and start testing them. Let's see what happens. What you want to start with? 1?
Yeah.
Start with 20.
So 2.
2 is actually not a bad one to start with. But we'll start with 1. We'll pretend like you're doing this on your own and I'm not telling you. So 1, 1, 6, 6, 2, 2. Nope, doesn't work. Let's try -1. -4 and -20. 1, negative 1, 4, negative 4, negative 8, 8. Nope.
They're gonna be 4.
We're going to move on to Andrew's 2. Andrew wanted to do 2 first. 1, 5, negative 4, negative 20. 1, 2, 7, 14, 10. Look! So I don't care which one you start with. If you're good with your graphing calculator, if you remember zeros are places where it crosses the x-axis. If you graph it and look, it'll give you a good hint on what a good one is to try. Because any place it crosses the x-axis is a 0. All right, so write that as a multiplication problem. What do you get? Say it. Minus, that's right. 2.
1x squared plus 7x plus 2.
Now what? Box it. Multiplies to 10x squared adds to 7x. What are the 5 and 2? GCF. 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 And GCF.
2.
Okay, so factored it looks like x plus 5, x plus 2. Now what? Make them 0. So I get 2, negative 5, and negative 2.
And you're done.
And you're done.
We got a lot of problems.